Welcome to this episode of The Ram and the Restless.
So this is a 2015 Ram 1500 Sport. I bought this truck new in 2015 with 10 miles on it. I developed a Hemi tick, which is what you heard. It's not the exhaust manifold leak. That goes away a little bit after the vehicle warms up, but not so much the Hemi tick. It's metal against metal. So I wanted to save myself a little bit of money. I want to do this myself. In the beginning, I filmed a lot of stuff. Right here, I'm just being really funny, and I'm saying stuff that is just hilarious. I wanted to save myself some money. I wanted to do it myself. I haven't dug this deep into this truck before, and I was going to explain everything. Wanted to being keyword, but I still made the video anyway, even though it didn't go so well. So I got the engine all torn down. I took it all the way apart. What I was going to do originally was just replace the lifters and the cam, but once I tore everything out, I figured I might as well I'm not going to keep taking the engine out. I wasn't going to do it more than once. And I decided just to pull the engine and replace everything that I could, because once you have worn out lifters, worn out cam, you're also going to be dealing with metal shavings and stuff in the engine. So let's just take the whole thing apart and replace things I need to replace. This was the cam. It was bad. And these are the lifters. You can tell which one is not supposed to look like it does. That was my number 5 cylinder, also the one I got my engine code for. I ended up taking the pistons out, the connecting rods out, and when I did that, I discovered in this video that I'm just going to talk over that some of them flopped around like that, and some of them were seized up. And I didn't think that was necessary. So I went ahead and bought new pistons. I bought new connecting rods. I bought a high flow oil pump. I bought the cam. I bought the timing gears. I bought the timing chain, the guide, pretty much everything under the engine. And I took it apart because I think that I said before there was probably metal shavings in there, so I wanted to clean it up as best I could. At this point, I'm at 245,000 miles. I've never had a problem with this truck. So, let's do it. I also got this guy, and we'll look at this guy for a little bit while I explain. I was trying to put the wrist pins in the piston and the connecting rod. So I was heating up the connecting rod for a long time. And I could put the wrist pin into the connecting rod, if this makes any sense without looking at a diagram, only looking at this press. It would fit through the connecting rod by itself, and then the wrist pin would fit through the piston by itself. But when I put the two together, it would only go about halfway and it would get stuck, and I couldn't push it in anymore. And when I tried to use the press, I broke the piston. I broke 2 of them. So I had to buy 2 more, plus 6 more, because they come in packs of 8. So I'm $3,200 in. And I just couldn't get enough heat, and I couldn't figure it out, and I was getting a little bit frustrated. So I made this video.
Doesn't work, broken, won't start, no engine, completely disassembled.
So then this guy gets a hold of me. He's like, hey, how's your truck project going? Because he helped me work on it in the beginning. And, I'm into this about maybe a couple of weeks at this point. And that car right there, 1970 Satellite, that's Sally. We're taking the engine out of it. We're working on it, different video. So he says, hey, I've got a friend that has a metal shop. Maybe we can take him over there and heat him up. I was like, yeah, give him a call. That's going to help out quite a bit. So as it turns out, his friend is a champion on the TV show Forged in Fire, and he owns his own armory, and he makes these fantastic things. He's like, yeah, come on out. I'll get you fired up. You guys can figure out what you need to do. So we do that, and we heat these connecting rods up and get the pins in the pistons, and I don't know, we were there for 20 or 30 minutes. It was fantastic, and it was just a stroke of luck that he's right down the road, and they looked fantastic, and I owe you a dinner, Jay. So just like CB radio, back to the bench. The assembly process starts, and I was in a great mood again because everything seemed to fit now. Sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know, and this is one of those examples of it. I replaced everything that I could think of to replace. I was going to delete the MDS. I didn't. I just rebuilt it stock. I put a high flow oil filter on there. Got the engine back together, which was great, and then I ended up dropping the water pump off the truck and bent it, so I had to get that one. But anyway, or replace that also. So we dropped the engine back in the truck, And mind you, this was where I was going to be explaining all these things that are going on, but so many things went wrong that I had less time to film and explain it. So I will explain this though. It is easier, 100% fact, to attach the torque converter to the transmission and then drop the engine in and then bolt the torque converter to the engine. It didn't seem like it was possible, but there's an aluminum bracket underneath that you have to remove. If you know what I'm talking about, I didn't take pictures of this, I'm sorry. But yes, it is 100% easier. Just don't ever try to attach the torque converter to the engine and then slide it into the transmission. It's not a 1969 383 440 combo with a 727. It's just easier that way. But we got it in. And then the final reassembly process. I've recorded this on a 360 camera, and so the ratio's off. And I hate watching videos on a horizontal format in vertical, so sorry about that. But anyway, we put it all together, and this is what I got. Which also seems fine. So when you start this thing back up, the oil's got to fill up the lifters, and once they're done doing that, they'll stop clattering, which they did, but it wouldn't idle. It would just sputter out, and then I have a code reader I put on there. I was getting missing cylinder misfires. I think it's the PO 300 series. I got a 5 and an 8. I think the 5 was from before when I parked it, and then I had the 8. But when I pulled the truck in here, the truck ran fine. I still drove it, although my service engine soon came light on, and I got that PO 305 error code. Now I was getting an 8. I was also getting multiple cylinder misfires. So I had to refigure everything out again and make sure all the wiring harness was connected. I had all the grounds in there, which I bought a subscription to Identifix, and I had all the visuals, and it was fantastic. Everything seemed to be fine, but it just wouldn't idle. So even at this point, when I would rev it up, it would run fine. When I would hold the throttle down a little bit and keep it at about 1,000, it would run smooth, and it would run like it was supposed to. But then when it would idle back down around 500 or 600 RPM, it would just start coughing out and choking and dying. So my code reader that I was using was an O'Reilly AutoZone type cheap one. Nothing wrong with those companies, just it's one you get over the counter that just kind of reads codes. It's really basic. So then I did what everybody does. I go to groups and I asked a lot of questions, and I got a lot of fantastic information from people in the RAM group that I'm in. A lot of great suggestions, a lot of really helpful people that were suggesting things to do, and then would get into conversations with each other about experiences they had. So it helped out a lot, and I tried them all, and none of it worked. So the reason you're going to be looking at this picture for a minute is because I ended up taking everything off the engine. I took the intake back off. I took the valve covers off. I made sure that my connecting rods weren't bent. Of course, they weren't when I put them back in. That everything was like it was supposed to be under the valve covers, and I put it all back together. And when I started it up again, I had the same issue that I had before. So one of my biggest fears was that I got the timing off, and I didn't want to take it all back apart because I made sure that I had it set exactly like it was supposed to be before I put the engine back together, because I didn't want to take it apart again and make sure that I did it right the first time. So once I went through all of these suggestions, I didn't really have a choice. So this is where the whole Restless part comes in. I took it all back apart, all the way down to the rotating assembly with the engine in the truck. Valve covers off. I took the heads off. I took the intake off, of course. I dropped the oil pan. I took the timing cover off. I took the water pump back off. I took everything off, and I made sure that the timing chain and the gears and the sprockets were where they were supposed to be, and they were. So I took it apart basically just to confirm that that was the way it was supposed to be, and then I put it all back together. And I was really excited about this because everything that I could think of and everything that everybody suggested was done, and I got the same result. So here's this, just so you don't have to keep looking at that same picture. So at this point, all in all, I was $3,200 into it. I had new parts and new everything in there. I've fixed everything that I'm pretty sure that I think I can fix. And this has been about 2 months of coming out to Oxland on the weekends and working on it. And I can't figure it out anymore. So I get in touch with a friend of mine who has got a real scanner. So the truck as it sits right now is still not fixed, but it will be. It's a mechanical thing. There's something wrong with it. It is obviously something that I've done, and I just can't figure it out yet. So I made a video about this. Just watch this, and this is my solution for now.
Because I'm having trouble figuring this out, and I will eventually. But I just need to switch things up a little bit while I'm working on it because I've got other stuff to do. But anyway, let me walk you through this. So you probably can't see the screen because of the glare, but this works a little bit different. So basically you turn it on. It's kind of dim. I don't know if you can see that, but you don't even have to plug it up yet. It's got a battery in it. But anyway, you plug in, I don't know, you probably can't see that. Anyway, it's a 2015 Ram 1500. It'll auto-populate. It's too reflecty. It'll auto-populate the engine size and everything. But anyway, so then you can actually click convert to something practical. Anyway, so we're gonna go under here. We're gonna plug this up. All right. So then you just go push execute, and it turns it into a 2012 Chevy 2500 HD, which is the new Auxilium Auto hauler. And we, as in my daughter, named it Oxy with an A.
So sometimes things just don't work out the way that we want them to, and this kind of is an example of that. I do appreciate you watching. If you subscribe to anything that I have on social media, it is also a charitable contribution, as Auxilium Auto is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we go to provide financial mechanical assistance to those who depend on their vehicles for daily living.
Oh, finally! I got through that horse crap! My computer won't load! I can't even put